Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Photoshop Party, and today we're going to talk about why do you need an ND filter? We're going to do something very weird without the ND filter, neutral density filter, and you're going to go, what? It's really easy. So if you forget it at home, don't panic. You can still make the water frothy and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and share screen.
Frothy or smooth?
Whatever. God, there's always one in the crowd, and it's always Dennis. Okay, let's go to May of 2022. Let's bring this guy up first. You can all see my screen right now, I hope. And you can see that Photoshop, well, I don't need to sell this to you guys. You guys are already going.
Right.
So if you want to change classes, you're more than welcome to. I've only got 10 in my class right now.
Yeah, you got 10 now. Yeah.
So I can always use a couple more. If you don't want to be in Sanders' class or Sturdivant's class, come take mine. We'll have fun. We're going to have a good time. So let's close that puppy out. Go away. Thank you. Go back to bridge and let's go to ND filter. And you can see my bridge right now.
Yep.
And you can see the water in these pictures. This is as slow as I could go to get a proper exposure. And I'll see if it brings it up what my exposure was. It was 1/20th of a second, f22 at ISO 40. So I slowed my camera down as far as I could get it down. And that's as far as it would go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command A and bridge and bring up all of these images. There's 10 images here. I'm going to go to Tools, Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers. So it's going to automatically do that for me. And these are JPEGs. I've already resized them down to 4,000 pixels so that I wouldn't have huge raw files to work with. Otherwise, we'd be here all afternoon, which is okay. I don't mind hanging out with you guys. And normally what I would do is select all. I would go to Edit, Auto Align Layers. But when I do that on this particular set, we'll do that real quick just to show you. It doesn't always work. I was shooting on a tripod, so everything was locked down. I was using the intervalometer, so the timer was taking the pictures for me. I didn't have to touch the camera. Shooting on manual, shooting on, everything was, autofocus was turned off. Everything was good to go. And because we're on Zoom, it's going to take longer than it should. So give it a couple seconds. Come on, baby. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. What are you laughing about, Dennis? You've had this happen to you too.
That's why I was laughing.
I even shrunk them way down. There we go. And you see what happens when I used auto align? It just did something funky. So I'm going to hit Command or Control Z, which goes back a step, go back to where we were. And I'm just going to go through like they were auto aligned anyway. So what I'll do, they're all selected. All the layers are selected. I'm going to hit Command or Control G, which makes it into a group. And after that, let's go ahead and convert to a smart object. And so this is now a smart object, spinning wheels. There we go. No, I don't want to undo it. Wow, that's playing all kinds of games. From here, we'll go to layer. We've done this before in a different version, doing something else. We'll go to smart objects, down to stack mode, down to mean. We did this taking people out of pictures. And this time we'll just play. And there you have a long exposure.
Wait a minute, will you back up and do that again, please? I
I
was
will-
looking down, writing something.
We'll
Sorry.
do it a couple of times.
Okay.
So basically I went from here to here.
That looks awesome.
The clouds are blurring. The water is smooth. So let's go back. And
But so are the trees blurry.
the trees are blurring slightly
Yeah,
in certain parts
they definitely lost a lot of sharpness in the trees.
When,
because it was very windy out there. So the trees were moving pretty dang good.
yeah.
Okay, let's go back. In fact, we'll just go all the way back to open.
How many pictures do you suggest?
That is the best part of it. It says you should do one picture for every second of exposure, or every, so if it's 1/20th of a second, then you do 20 exposures.
A lot.
It's a lot, but I don't think you need to do that many. I would say 15 to 20 exposures should be able to get you, if you're not doing super high shutter speed. So in fact, we'll close it all the way out, start over, don't save. So what I'm going to do, select all my images in Bridge, hit the top one, go down to the bottom, and then I will hit Shift and click on it, which gives me every image. Go to Tools at the top level, Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers. So Tools, Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers.
And you can do this via Lightroom as well.
Yes, you can. I just don't do Lightroom, so I don't tell people that.
I know.
I don't either. I just do Photoshop.
Bridge works wonderfully, so it does everything I
There's
need.
Lightroom.
Okay, so you have movement in the trees because of the wind.
Right.
So the clouds are moving, the trees are moving,
Hmm.
so everything moves, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Well, could you save one photo and then mask your final and then put the trees back in?
You could do it that way.
Also, I was gonna ask you, you put them, you made them into small JPEGs before you started?
Just for demonstration purposes,
Oh, but you wouldn't.
in real life, I'm going to use the raw files.
Okay.
But if I showed you how long it took using the raw files, you might as well go get a cup of coffee while we have more discussion about West Coast School. So I'm going to select all of the layers, and I'm going to go up here. Actually, I could do it up here. Go to make a group, which is new group from layers, or new group, or I can hit Command G, or you can go up to layers up here and make a group up here. I'm just a shortcut kind of a person, so I just hit Command G, which puts them all into one group. Go to the drop down on the right and convert to a smart object. And convert to a smart object. Thank you. And then the next step is layer, smart objects, go down to stack mode. So layer, smart objects, stack mode to mean. And I did median just to see if it would work, and it did work. It did the same thing. So I just click on mean, and then it puts it to work.
Okay.
Now, does it convert each one of those images in the group to a smart object?
The whole group is a smart object. So to change the group, I'd have to go in here, double click on the group. and then it would bring it up where I could open all the different files.
Okay, okay.
And then close it and save it. So that's what you have to do with the smart object. Don't save because we didn't do that. And we're going to crop it. And I'm just going to hit 4,000 pixels on the left-hand one for width.
Michael, why did you convert it into a smart object?
Because that's what I was told to do. Does that answer the question?
Oh,
There-
definitively.
There is another way to go about doing that, but that's the fastest way. So just convert it to a smart object and then make it a group, then a smart object, and then just go up to layer, smart objects, and then stack mode, and it does the work for you. There's another way to go into file, scripts, load into stack, or there's also another way to get into there as well. But this is the fastest way. And if we zoom in, it looks like I had a neutral density filter on there and did
That's
everything
very
for
cool.
me.
Very cool.
And then also you can see right where my cursor is, sensor spot. Oopsies.
You're known for those, Michael.
My camera, for some reason, no matter what, will give me a sensor spot. So let's close this one. Don't save. Go back to bridge, go to party 2. And then I did the same thing with this one. Went across the other side of the river. And you can see it moving there. So what I'll do is select all of these. I can hit Command A or Control A. It selects all the layers. And I go to Tools, Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers. This one's only got 10 layers. I wanted to see if I could get away with a whole lot less layers. So we'll hit the top one is selected, go down to the bottom one, hit Shift and select, which selects them all. If you hit Command or Control, it will only select one at a time. So hit the Shift key, it selects them all. Again, you can go in here, new group, or hit Command G. I like Command or Control G because it makes a group for me. Make it a smart object. There's 2 ways to do it. We can go to Layer, Smart Objects, Convert to Smart Object. And that makes it a smart object. And then we go to Layer, Smart Objects again, down to Stack Mode. This time I'll do median. No, I'll do mean because it's faster doing mean. Median's a little bit slower. We'll do mean again. And there you have a smooth lake, smoother water over here,
Wow.
along with the flow. And the things you see here are easy to get rid of. Let's do Command J,
Okay.
Command Option Shift, or Control Alt Shift E, which puts everything up on its own layer. And I'm going to do lasso tool. Hit F3, which is my secret action that I run. And we do the same thing here, including the shadows.
Why did you take a bar of soap with you?
Why did I do what, Roger?
Why did you take a bar of soap with you?
Because it was Saturday and I needed to take a bath.
Ah,
Saturdays are my bath day, so. And there you have the fastest way to do it without an ND filter. If you have an ND filter, obviously you're going to get a little bit better result, but this works fantastic without it.
And every one of those exposures is the same exact setting, correct?
Everything is exactly the same.
Right, okay,
I'm on manual. I'm on manual focus, and every shutter speed was the same on each one.
right, okay.
What would happen if it wasn't?
If you change your aperture a little bit, it would screw things up just a little bit. It would cause a glitch in there, because when you change aperture, you change your focal range, and
Yeah.
to line them up, you would have a problem with that. We'll go back.
So you
to-
can
Go ahead.
pretty much assume that if I don't have a tripod, it's not going to work, correct?
Right.
If you don't have a tripod, what you would do is put your, let me get the brush tool, and we'll get a really obnoxious color going. What I would do is put my crosshairs on the my viewfinder, so that I lock in on that spot every single time. And then you would have to definitely use auto align layers. Or I would find a spot to where one of the corners on my viewfinder that sets up where yeah, but I can't even think of the words. You want to have it so you have the same spot almost every single time. So looking in your viewfinder, you know, you have the so you lock one of these corners somewhere on the same spot every single time. You're going to be off a little bit, of course, because you're hand holding, but you can get it close, and then auto align will bring it a lot closer. Does that
Right,
make
great.
sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you for the question. I appreciate that. Any other questions out there?
I guess lowering your ISO would also help to lower your speed, your shutter speed.
Yes, definitely. On my camera, I could go down to 100 is my lowest numerical ISO, and then I can go low 1, low 2, and low 2 is 40 ISO. So I took it down to 40.
Wow.
I took my aperture up to f22, as high as it would go.
Wow.
Or
That's,
as low
that's
as it
an
would go.
amazing process, though. Pretty cool.
So,
Michael, Laura had a question.
okay. I have no way to talk to you.
No,
What if you wanted-
it's in the question. It's in the question mark, I think.
I have
Okay,
no
yeah,
way,
it's
she
in
has
the
no way
chat.
to talk.
Yeah.
What if you want to keep the sky unblurred?
Okay, let's do this. Go back to here, Command W, don't save. Let's go back to the first image, and we'll do Command A, load into Photoshop, layers, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And we're in, right? Come on, baby. So I have the top one selected. I have the bottom one, shift click, get them all. Command G to make a group. I'm going to hit Command J or Control J to make a copy of that. And I'm going to turn it off for now. So with this group, I'm going to make it a smart object, convert to smart object. And I might as well do that to this one as two. No, I'll just leave it like it is for now. And then we'll go to layer, smart objects. Stack mode won't work on that one because it's not a smart object. So let's go to that one. Layer, smart objects, stack mode, median, or we'll do mean. Either one will work. And either one will work. Thank you very much. And it worked because if I turn the top one off, we have the sky that's blurred. Okay, no problem. Let's go to add a mask onto the group on top, fill it with black. So we'll invert the mask, Command I. Now it's blurred. Take my brush, B for brush, normal. And what size is it? 45. Let's make it bigger. That's not the brush I want. I want a soft round brush. I'm going to paint with white.
Magical.
And look, my trees are nicely in focus again.
It's great.
But wait, there's more. Let's crop it again. Down to there. That didn't work. And we'll do a
Yeah.
Command Option Shift E to get all the visible together. J for healing brush. And there you have my lone image for 2022 image competition.
So could you possibly, what if you change the opacity on, so the clouds aren't quite as perfect? Like, can you blur them a little?
Blur them a little versus blur them a lot.
Well, I'm just wondering if you could do it with opacity or no, you would have to do something.
I could probably do it with opacity, or what I could do is with my brush in the mask mode, I could paint with gray,
Oh,
or I could bring back some of it, change the opacity of the brush. We'll change it to say 40%. And I'm going to paint with black to bring some of the blur back, I think. We'll see.
yeah, that does, that works. Pink.
There we go, paint with black.
Nice.
Depending on how much blur you want.
Pretty.
So we got a little bit of blur there. And I'm using a mouse. I'm not using my Wacom tablet to get a super close brushing in there. But you can paint back as much as you want, or you could change the opacity also. Change that all the way back to 0 or up to 100. So you can see the before and after. Just play and have fun with it. I mean, that's what it's all about. And you could change your blur just by lowering the opacity of the top layer that I did, or the second layer that I did, and turn it on and off. You can see the difference there. So like they say in Photoshop, there's 10 different ways to do everything. Any other questions? Going once, going twice? Okay, in that case, I will stop sharing. I will turn off the recording.